he was well backed 15-2. John Hunt, your commentator.
We're over 1 mile. They're off and they're racing. So day 2 of the Bet365 Craven meeting underway. A sharp start made here by Busento, who's up with the pace. Also Dionysian's coming through, very keen indeed. Gentle Winnie showing good speed up the near side. Play Up Sky Blues is just in behind them, and that's where Al Wazmi also races. Al Marin shapes next, just ahead of Cobalt Blue, and then further back is Burdett Road as they race on now through the first quarter of a mile. Gulmarg is slightly further back in the field. Lion Kingdom likewise at the back of this main group with Supreme King. Connemara Coast is second last overall with the red cap. Over towards the far side of the group, Seductive Power is pursuing Dream Pirate, who's quite nice and handy as well. Surely Not is another one towards the rear end of the field. Dionysian's gone through the first half of the race pretty keenly. Still leads narrowly up the near rail. Play Up Sky Blues and Gentle Winnie. Now Busento comes under a bit of pressure. A forward move from Burdett Road. Yellow Jacket tracked by Supreme King, who could be dangerous as well. Gulmarg's trying to get competitive. Right over on the far side, Seductive Power comes next. El Wazmi's trying to get a run up this near side, but making quite hard work of it, changing his legs as well repeatedly, and now into the dip they come. The final furlong marker in sight, and from the back, Surely Not's made rapid progress to come and lead from Gulmarg now. Surely Not, Gulmarg, Connemara Coast is finishing off very strongly up the near side running rail, but it's Surely Not for Holly Doyle clear from in second place. Connemara Coast, those two were the last pairing through the first half of the race. They've come home 1-2 ahead of Gulmarg in behind those, and Lion Kingdom not far away.
Surely Not, the 9-1 winner from Connemara Coast at 15-2, and Gulmarg third at 11-1. The overall time was quite slow here, 1:42.35, so they were 6.5 seconds outside the Racing Post standard. I think that's a function of the headwind, and the first, second and fourth horses home were all held up. They were last, second last and third last in the early part of the race, which was quite strongly run into that wind. Surely Not came home very strongly. Connemara Coast travelled up very well and didn't quite find as much as the winner in the closing stages. Both got good rides.
Congratulations, that looked like a hot race going into it, and he's won it comfortably.
Yes, thanks. We always thought he was a nice horse. He won twice last year, and I perhaps ran him once too often. His work's been very good at home, and he's been going well with the other horses that have been running well. I thought he was a few weeks off coming in his coat. He's still got hanging on to his winter coat a bit, but his work was good, and Holly gave him a super ride. They probably went off a little bit too quick in the race and all fell in a heap, and it played into our hands a little bit, but he got there sooner than she wanted him to get there, and he probably idled a bit in front as well.
And do you have a plan for where you might go next?
I hadn't really thought about it, but you'd love to get to Ascot for the Britannia. Whether or not he's going to go up enough to get in yet, we might have to find something in between.
You've got a bit of time, you can probably do that.
We have. We always thought he might be a 90 horse. Colin rides him every day at home, and he always said he felt like a 90 horse. So hopefully we've got a bit of fun to come with him.
And ground-wise, what do you think of him?
His half-sister went on very soft ground, and I always thought this fellow would go on soft ground, but he won at Lingfield and he won at Goodwood he ran very well at Goodwood on good to firm, and at Newbury on good ground. The ground here today is, what are they calling it now, good to soft? Yeah. That's right up his street, but I think he'd go on most grounds.
Class 2 6 furlong handicap was next. Ali's Dancer was the joint favourite at 4-1 with Probe.
Starters happy. They're off and racing. Little fly jump there from Admiral D out there in stall number 11. Lost a bit of ground, and above was just slowly away. Equiano Springs is amongst the front runners early, though, together with Mr. Wagyu, who shows really good speed. With these, leap aboard, another one into stride very sharply indeed. The Green Man is not far away from them. Aphelios is tracking them with Ali's Dancer over towards the far side of the group. With Probe is Orazio. They're both well in touch, followed by Chairman of the board, and after chairman of the board, a little gap to Admiral D and a much, much bigger gap to Above, who is struggling badly, several lengths adrift. They race then down towards the point, 2.5 from home. Mr. Wagyu in the centre of the track with Equiano Springs between the two of them. Probe is coming sauntering through as well. Leap aboard still well there with Ali's Dancer and chairman of the board over on the far side. Then we've got Orazio who's trying to stay on together with the Green Man, and after these races Admiral D. The fight for home is on, and up front less than a furlong to go. Probe narrowly out in front trying to fend them off with Leap aboard, chairman of the board. Here's Orazio with the best finish of the lot. Orazio and William Buick hit top gear and storm on to win it. Orazio beats Probe, chairman of the board. Behind those, Leap Abroad and Admiral D.
Orazio back to form, 9-1 for William Buick and Charles Hills. Probe second, one of the joint favourites at 4-1, and chairman of the board 8-1 was third, 11 ran. Orazio's a lightly raced individual, son of Caravaggio, who was thought good enough to run in the Gimcrack. He didn't run particularly well there and had a long time off the track before coming back and running reasonably well on his seasonal reappearance on the all-weather. But this was a big step up from him, finding plenty for pressure under William Buick and beating chairman of the board. And it was a good effort from this horse, wandering around in the dip a little bit, but he got the job done.
Charles Hills has just trained Orazio to win our second race here at Newmarket. Many congratulations. He came right over the top and finished very strongly. What did William say to you?
Yeah, he just said he didn't really handle the dip that well. He had to just nurse him down the hill, and obviously once he hit the rising ground, he's finished off the race well. So delighted, really. Yeah, obviously having a good ride like that.
And what do you think you might do with him now?
Yeah, I mean, there was a race back here, obviously Guinea's meeting, but
Now you've got that news, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. So the plan was always really to work back from the Wokingham, so I think that's probably what we'll stick to.
So you need just to find a stepping stone to Royal Ascot.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does like a little bit of give in the ground,
Okay. Earlier you worked Cicero's Gift with a stable companion, Kieran Schumacher was riding. What were you trying to achieve from that gallop?
Just he's obviously just 1-2 novices. Still don't know too much about him. We did have him in the field, and I just thought he's just taken time to come to hand really all last year. I just don't really want to put him straight in the deep end without any sort of racehorse gallop or like a Guineas trial. So it just took him for a gallop just down the sort of quieter line, just try and find out a bit more about him really. So we'll see. We'll see how he comes out of it. It wasn't nothing too strenuous. He just nicely on the bridle, which was all I've asked of him. So we'll see how the trials will pan out this week, and then probably make a plan next week.
So he's a possible for the Guineas rather than a definite for the Guineas.
Possible, yeah. I mean, there's a race this Guineas weekend at Goodwood. There's a condition race there. That's a route we could take. I think you'd probably get further in time, so then you'd probably look to a Hampton Court or something like that. So we'll just see how he trains this week and see how the Guineas looks. There is only one Guineas though, isn't there? So it's a difficult one.
It's true. What did Kieran say about how he handled the track? I know he wasn't going full pelt.
No, he wasn't going full pelt. I mean, he's got very round action, just like his dad actually. And his dad handled every surface, so you might look like you probably want a bit of cut in the ground, but I think it's nice to get him on nice to get on some faster ground eventually. But we're still learning about him really.
You're bringing Garris back tomorrow for the Abonant, and obviously he was second in the race last year. How is he this time around? I
think pretty similar actually. Into Saudi Arabia, in between he should have come on for that. Happy with his work at home. Favourite looks sort of hard to beat, I'd say, but at least we know he likes the track.
Absolutely. And then also you've got Lady Alara, who you're running in the Fred Darling. Are you running her in the Fred Darling on Friday? I
think we will. Yeah, she had a bit of cut in the ground. She has a black type from last year, but she's wintered well. She put some nice bit of weight on. She's fresh and well in herself, so I think we may as well give her a run and see where we are.
She was a good third in the Star Stakes. What happened next time out?
She just sort of lost her way a little bit. It was quite quick, I think the ground was after that, and just didn't handle that too well. But she was a filly who was always going to be nicer as a 3-year-old. So it was nicer to get that black type at Sandown.
Well, congratulations here. Best of luck for the rest of the week as well.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Randy.
3 o'clock, the Field and Stakes listed race this. 9 furlongs the trip, and the favourite Bold Act 15-8.
All in, they're often racing. So jumping away, the trip 9 furlongs, the Bet 365 Field and Stakes then underway, and towards the far side Canberra Legend jumped well, so too did Killybegs Warrior in the orange. Between those two, Galactic Jack also nicely away. Blancheland is in a very close 4th, and Intinzo pulling hard in 5th place, now going 4th, but he's very, very free indeed. Pace very steady. Captain Wurtzbach well up with the pace. Bold Act is next, and further back to Colsai, and at the rear Regal Honor just about last. It's a steady early gallop with Killybegs Warrior leading the way narrowly from Galactic Jack in 2nd place. Blancheland is in 3rd. Captain Wurtzbach has drawn alongside Intinso, who's buried away amongst runners, and Canberra Legend racing up on the wide outside. Bold Act is with those, and then there's only 1 length to the rear too. Colside just a fraction ahead of Regal Honor. The runners then continue their way then down towards the half-mile marker, and up front Killybegs Warrior leading narrowly to Galactic Jack, Blancheland, Intinso and Canberra Legend, and Captain Wurtzbach, who's now just under pressure for the first time. Bold Act and Regal Honor, the Godolphin pair, together in rear, and Colsai is travelling strongly enough now at the back end of the field. Intinso's under pressure, not finding a great deal, dropping away in fact, and now Killybegs Warrior leads the way from Canberra Legend. Colsai making lovely progress over on the far side. Regal Honor this side staying on nicely ahead of Galactic Jack. Bold Act is going to be firmly beaten, but Colsai may be a big price, but he's making an even bigger impression here. Colsai, they're trying to come back at him though. Canberra Legend together with Killybegs Warrior. Colsai, Canberra Legend eating up the ground late. Canberra Legend this side getting up to win it. Canberra Legend beat Colsai, Killybegs Warrior, and in 4th place Regal Honor.
Canberra Legend 15-2 beats Colsai 16s, and Killybegs Warrior 3rd at 25-1, 9 round. Well, Canberra Legend remains unbeaten now in a couple of starts. He wins here for James Ferguson and Danny Muscat. He didn't really handle the dip particularly well, but he picked up once he hit the rising ground and stayed on quite strongly. The race was not strongly run. It did turn into a little bit of a dash. Killybegs Warrior made the run and hung on in there for a long time to finish 3rd in the end. But stamina seemed to win the day in the end. This son of Australia, Canberra Legend, can only be better over further.
Canberra Legend has just won the field, and in real taking fashion. Daniel Muscat was on board. Congratulations. First of all, he's a gorgeous looker, isn't he?
Yeah, thank you. No, he's one we've taken our time with, and he's coming to fruition now. But I was really taken with how professional he was in the prelims, and he's gone about his business very well.
The one that's come from Newcastle to the Craven meeting, that professionalism was marked really, wasn't it? Because it's a very different occasion. I know it's not packed here, but it's still much more buzzy.
Yeah, for sure. And no, he didn't bat an eyelid. You wouldn't know that he'd only had 1 lifetime start, and jumped very smart, and it just took 100 yards to just get him back and in behind the Jeff Smith horse. But after that, he was in cruise control most of the way, and handled the dip well for a big horse. But I was fortunate. I was in a nice position to get him rolling on my terms, and I think that's paid dividends. He's hit the rising ground and stayed on really well.
It's interesting you say he handled the dip well, because from the outside I was thinking that was the only bit where he seemed to be sort of treading water and then finished really strongly. So from your perspective, you felt it was fine?
He just very much felt like he was organising himself. He didn't feel like he was losing much momentum, but he is a big boy, and he could have been more uncomfortable than he was. So I was happy, and I knew that once he got himself organised, if we were within a couple of lengths of him, he'd stick his head down and guts it out, and he did.
You really did. And would you like to be going up in trip with him next, do you think?
I would think so. That would probably be the logical step, but I'll leave that to James and the owners.
Fantastic looking horse. He's quite stamped by Australia, don't you think?
Absolutely, you know, and it was quite evident early doors with this horse, you know, as when Mark bought him for the sales for Bonho, that this was certainly a horse to look after, and in terms of, you know, he was always going to be better at 3. And I've just been delighted to see his progress through, especially through the winter. Obviously the run at Newcastle was pretty impressive. He'd have learnt plenty from that, and for a horse that was so inexperienced, he showed a lot of professionalism today. Obviously he was making a bit of a noise in the pre-parade ring, but other than that, you know, it was almost as if he'd run 5 or 6 races.
It's interesting you mentioned the noise in the pre-parade ring, because when he came into the parade ring I was really impressed by his mentality, bearing in mind this is just his second race course start.
Absolutely, you know, he's you know, hopefully a very exciting prospect going forward, and you know, this is a big occasion for a horse just on its second start. You know, there's lots of people here, and he took it very well.
He went through the race really nicely. He was just trying to get himself organised in the dip, and then he finished really strongly. Is that how you saw the race as well?
Absolutely. I think if I haven't seen a replay, but Danny always looked fairly happy, you know, and he always rides. You know, he always rides with a lot of confidence, and I think the horses, you know, feel that confidence, and you know, he never looked like he was panicking. And we actually brought him here the other day just to get him into the dip, and he basically worked exactly the same. He was easy into the dip, but then as soon as he hit the rising ground, you know, he really lengthened. So you know, the jockey knew that he was going to develop the race in that way, and he rode him exactly how he found him.
Now, this horse has got entries in the 2000 Guineas, the Dante and the Derby. Would you be inclined to head more in a Dante direction than a 2000 Guineas direction?
At the moment, having watched that race and listened to Danny, it would probably seem logical that he certainly wants further in time. There's only one Guineas, and to be quite honest, I cannot tell you until I've spoken to the owner. But I can see him certainly staying further.
But it's clear that if you're not dismissing the Guineas out of hand, that you think this is a horse of a very large amount of ability.
Yes, I'd say I'd like to think so. It's a joy to train a horse of this calibre for an owner that's been supportive of me since I started.
You've had some, in your very short career today, you've had some very good horses. Is this perhaps the one that's excited you most?
Going forward, he's very exciting. But I've been very lucky, and I've had some good horses, and you know, let's just hope we can continue on this path going forward.
How far do you think he can stay?
I think he could get a mile and a half, and then I'll let you know in July.
The feature event was next at 3:35. It was the Lamwade Stud Nell Gwyn Stakes, Group 3 for 3-year-old fillies over 7 furlongs. Coppice, the warmish favourite at 2-1.
And they're off and they're racing. A few of them were slowly away, including Coppice, the favourite, over on the far side. She'll be given plenty of time to find her stride next to Inner Space. But a big, tight group of runners early as they get underway for the Lamwade Stud Nell Gwyn Stakes. Recognised classic trial. Sweet Harmony is one of the first ones to show, but Lady Bullet is right up with the pace as well. Frankness pulling now. She's not too far away from them. All this happening towards the far side where Barefoot Angel, Inner Space and Coppice right over on the far side of the group now making ground. Girl Race is just in behind them. Fairy Cross right up with the pace as well. Believing and Small Oasis are in behind those, and then comes Carsavina. Then we've got down the near side Lady Bullet showing up quite nicely. Secret Angel, they're really tightly grouped. Queen Ollie is there. So too produced is Dubai Jamila, and slightly off the pace Mama's Girl now just being popped the question. Right over on the far side of the track, Dettori hard at work on Coppice to try and get a blow in. Fairy Cross has moved to the front though in the middle of the track. Fairy Cross chased by Secret Angel from the back. Sweet Harmony running on. So too is Carsavina, and Believing is picking up as well. Coppice over on the far side looking held. Fairy Cross with the advantage. Just look at this run. Mama's Girl right up the near side rail. She's come from right at the back end of the field. A great turn of foot. That's impressive. The Nell Gwyn winner is Mama's Girl. She won by 3. Fairy Cross next, followed then by Secret Angel, and then we had the likes of Girl Racer and Carsavina. Mama's Girl wins the feature, and how?
And the winner was Mama's Girl at 16-1 for Sean Levy, Richard Hannon and Ammo Racing Limited. Fairy Cross second at 9-2 and Secret Angel third at 40-1. In the end, she was a decisive winner by 2 3/4 lengths, quickening up well towards the stand side and winning this going away in the closing stages. She was held up early on. Fairy Cross was always up there in the heat of the battle and stuck to her guns, but she just didn't have the pace of Mama's Girl, who is speedily bred. She's now reported to go straight to the 1,000 guineas at Newmarket, for which she's generally an 8-1 shot.
Mama's Girl has just won the Lamwade Stud Nell Gwyn for trainer Richard Hannon. Many congratulations. That was pretty impressive looking.
Yeah, she's done it really well, and you know, she missed a gate a little bit today. She won here first time out, and to come from a novice to a Group 3 is a big ask. and she's done it really well. I'm really pleased.
I heard Sean saying as he was heading back to the weighing room that he felt he always had the entire field covered. Yeah. How are you feeling watching?
Yeah, I kind of, you wait for them. I thought she was making ground, and then the camera obviously went to the others on the far side. I thought, oh, normally the cameraman gets it right, and then she just came out of nowhere, and she's won very well. She settles well. You know, she's not hugely experienced, and she looked like she'd get a mile there, even though she's obviously quite stoutly bred, a man of grain and an Elderton mare. You'd think 6 or 7 furlongs would be her optimum, but she looked like she'd get a mile today.
So, are you tempted, therefore, by the 1,000 guineas?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
Is that next stop?
Yeah.
Just checking, because, you know, as you say, there's a lot of speed in the family. You know the half-brother really well. Master of the Sea, was it?
Yeah, she's won a Guineas trial. I think, yeah, we have to go there. And she's every right to be respected. If it doesn't happen, that's no problem. You know, she's done everything she can for her pedigree, and she's a pleasure to have about. She will improve massively for that. You know, our horses always do when they run first time, and if they win first time, normally they're very good, and she certainly looks like that.
And has she always been that in your eye at home? Have you always sort of marked her amongst the top drawer of this generation of fillies?
She's been quietly under the radar. You know, we had to go very easy with her. She went very well early on in her 2-year-old career. Then we had to take it easy, and we didn't run her till the autumn. So I thought she'd run very well or go very close to winning when she ran here at the back end. And today I couldn't believe she was 28 to 1.
I remember you saying after that in the very early part of her 2-year-old career, you'd hoped she was a Queen Mary horse, and then she just went weak on you.
She would have won the Queen Mary.
Well, on that evidence, maybe she would have done. You've got another interesting filly, haven't you, that you're running in the Fred Darling, Magical Sunset, is that right?
Yeah, same ownership. Yeah. She won the Radley Stakes, I think 5.5 lengths. If it's soft ground, she'll love it. And she's just started working really well. And she's a pretty good filly, and hoping she can win.
Well, I'm obviously going to ask how you're comparing the two.
Second and third in the Guineas, you can just see it, like Dick Turpin and Camford Cliffs, but you never know.
And how about Classic that you've got in the Greenham? Are you inclined to go?
Yes, he's going to run. Julie's come down and seen him work. She wants him to go there, and rightly so. He's a very good horse, but mentally, he needed to grow up. He's done that slightly, and some days he works like, you know, an extremely good horse. Doesn't always show that, but there's a lot of talent in there, and hopefully he'll show it on Saturday. And
is Mojo Star returning? Great, in the John Porter. Fantastic. That's going to be a good race, actually.
Yeah, I might get a day off from Kia. Now this filly's won. It looks a very good race. You know, I wanted to run him last week at Nottingham, but the ground was, you know, very, very deep, and I'm glad we didn't run him. It's only 1.5 miles. I think he wants further, but he'll run very well, hopefully. He's a gentleman and one of the best horses I've ever trained. A pleasure to see every morning.
If you'll indulge me, I've got 3 others just to ask you about. Erars in the Avenant tomorrow.
Yeah, I keep calling him a good horse. I've been doing that for 2 years. Getting boring, but he is. And he's got a lot of speed and a lot of ability, and hopefully one of these one day will come his way. I'm very hopeful. He just got a bit stuck in the ground last time.
Okay. And for viewers still watching today, you've got a couple more. Love My Life?
Live My Life.
Live My Life, sorry.
Live My Life, yeah. My dad's got a share. So, you know,
no pressure.
So it will turn to gold, you know that. And very helpful. She's shown up well at home, and she's sweet filly with a lot of speed.
Okay. And finally, Great Bedouin.
I can't believe he's another one, 33 to 1. If you see him, he's one of the nicest looking horses you'll see. And he only had 1 run as a 2-year-old. That wasn't terribly good. And he came back, ran very well on the all-weather, and then he won at Newcastle. I think he's a nice chance. He's definitely on the upgrade. Shouldn't be 33 to 1.
Thank you so much. You've been so kind to run through all of your significant runners this week. I'm no longer going to stand between you, the champagne, and the royal box. Well done.
Thank you very much. I've got one in this, so I won't be going there yet.
Okay.
But you're welcome to join us.
The 410 was a maiden filly stakes over 5 furlongs, and at 85 to 40, Dorothy Lawrence was favourite, just ahead of Persian Dreamer, who was 11 to 4.
And they're off and racing. So jumping away, Live My Dream makes a beeline for this near side running rail, brings She's Smart across, and Dorothy Lawrence from stall 6 Also in behind these, Cuban Secret and Union Jackie, leaving 4 on the far side, where Specific Times is showing a whole bundle of speed to lead up there. Bint Havana Gold just second of that group on the far side, with Persian Dreamer and then More Gin Please. Not much between the two groups, 4 on the far side, 5 up the near rail, where Dorothy Lawrence is coming through now to just head She's Smart, and the other 3 all in behind this standside group being ridden along Union Jackie, trying to make ground. But on the far side, look at Persian Dreamer now about to join in with Specific Times, and now the two groups converge. Persian Dreamer doing best at the moment, chased by Dorothy Lawrence, Specific Times, and then She's Smart. This is developing into one heck of a day for Ammo Racing. Persian Dreamer and Kevin Stott impressively clear at the line by nearly 4 lengths. Dorothy Lawrence and She's Smart chased her shadow home.
Impressive performance on debut from Persian Dreamer, who was 11-4 for Kevin Stott, Dominic French-Davis and Ammo Racing. Dorothy Lawrence the favourite second, She's Smart third at 12-1 and 9 ran. Well, this filly could be Royal Ascot bound. Probably one more run, you would have said, perhaps at York. And then the Queen Mary looks a distinct possibility for her. She's quickened up in good style. She's beaten Dorothy Lawrence, who travelled up strongly but just didn't have the pace of the winner, who's still green under pressure, hanging to her left. There's clearly going to be more to come, and she's very useful.
Kir Jurabjan has just seen his Ammo Racing silks carried to victory in our last 2 races, 2 very exciting young horses. Let's start with the 2-year-old Kir that we have just seen, Persian Dreamer. She looks very smart indeed.
Yeah, she does. We didn't know what to expect. She's a 2-year-old, first time out. Boys at home loved her, always, and they've been talking about her since, you know, back in February. So I think she's come out and she's been very smart. She looks very professional. The way she did that was great, and she looked like she'd go a little bit further as well.
Dominic was just saying that he wonders even whether she needs a run between now and Royal Ascot, and it might be straight there. Do you have a view?
No, I'm going to leave that with Dom and the guys at home. I think they know her best, so they're going to make that decision. But I think, you know, Royal Ascot is definitely a target, so hopefully this year.
She looks very professional, so I can see why they're thinking you could go straight there with her.
Yeah, they love her. They say, you know, she's the most professional. She's like a 3-year-old, really, right, the way that she behaves. So we're very excited. Very exciting.
4:45, maiden filly stakes over a mile. These are 3-year-olds, the even money favourite. On debut, Silver Lady.
And they're off and racing over a mile this time. Couple slow away, Never Ending, and also slowly away was Ludmilla. Ludmilla from stall number 1 sits second last in the early stages. Pace doesn't appear to be strong. Roger De Leo is one of those with Graceful Storm, and also Mysterious Love, all disputing the lead early, with Rising Bay and Who Loves You Baby only just in behind them. Dancing is the one taking a fierce old grip, and Silver Lady has stayed right up the middle of the track and is comfortably there, racing ahead of the likes of Rowea. And down this near side, Rising Bay, see Clarets a little bit further back in the field as well. Over towards the far side of the group, Lady Rascal is racing ahead of Awesome Georgie, who's down the field, as Ludmilla has definitely made some progress now, passing the half-mile marker. And if Dettori glances to his left, he'll be able to see Silver Lady just ahead of him in the middle of the field as well. But now they race down to the closing stages, and up front, Rising Bay striding on with a narrow lead with Mysterious Love, and now Mubhija also arriving on the scene, and in fact has gone past Silver Lady, who's going to have to respond. Roger De Leo on the far side. Ludmilla needs to kick in here under a bit of pressure on the wide outside flank there as they move on, with Rowea staying on quite nicely as well. But up front now, favourite Silver Lady has come through to hit the front, chased all the time by Rising Bay. Silver Lady just needs correcting here to seal the deal from Rising Bay on the far side. Rowea and Roger De Leo staying on is Never Ending, but this is Silver Lady to make an impressive start to life. Never Ending up for second place late. Rowea was in third, and fourth place went to Rising Bay.
Success for the favourite then, Silver Lady. She was evens, Never Ending second at 20-1, and Rowea third at 22-1, and 16 ran. Silver Lady has clearly been showing plenty at home. She was well found in the market on her debut, this daughter of See the Stars, and despite pulling quite hard in the early stage of the race, she found plenty for pressure and ran on strongly while still looking very green in the dip. And there could be a lot more to come from her. Charlie Appleby reports he may miss the 1,000 guineas, could put her in there, that they'll probably go softly with her. Second and third could be useful in time as well.
Silver Lady has just made a really exciting debut for Godolphin. Charlie Appleby, of course, is her trainer. Shades of her dam there, really.
Yeah, look, it's a family that we've got to know. Obviously, Highland Avenue and her being the second foal. That you know, there is a huge amount of talent in that family. It's talent that I think needs to be minded slightly on the back of the experience we had with Highland Avenue, to be honest. So, but look, pleasing debut today. William said that you know, she is a filly that's got all the potential there, as long as we can just sort of, you know, channel it in the right direction, should we say. You know, she's not in the guineas. It could be something that you could quite easily walk away from here thinking, well, she should be put in the guineas on the evidence of what she's achieved there. Anyway, but I think we'd probably be more cautious and just take some baby steps with her and, you know, let her come through the ranks, hopefully.
Can you take me through what you've reflected on from Highland Avenue, what you think you've learned about the family and how you think you'll react to it?
Like I say, it's a family that have all the talent and ability is there. I just think if you let them grow with a bit of confidence in each step, that they'll take it the right way. I think if you potentially put them into the deep end too much, they're clever. They seem to be clever. They say there's an easier option out of this. And I think that's what we found with Highland Avenue. No disrespect to him, he's still was a good racehorse and still is. He's doing a great job for us. But I think this filly, if we mind her the right way, she will repay us.
So what are you thinking? Are you even thinking sort of keeping at novice level for her next start?
Brutally honest, Lydia, I haven't got anything. What I'm thinking now, as we stand here now, is to work back from something like the coronation, right. And in doing so, yes, looking towards some steps towards Ascot.
Little baby steps.
Little baby steps, hopefully, yes. But like I say, I mean, in a couple of days' time, people, connections and everyone might say, well, she's a filly we might have to look towards the guineas. But I think collectively we'll be saying, let's just give this filly a chance, and she will repay us.
And the 520, handicapped over 1.25 miles. The favourite here at 3-1, Like a Tiger.
They're often racing. Like a Tiger reared up immediately and lost many lengths out of the gates. He's fine and sitting tight was Danny Muscat, and he's catching up a little bit now, but that was a really unwelcome start for Like a Tiger. Demillion has gone straight into the lead here with High Honour, who tries to go with him, and these two settle down just ahead of Imperial Ace. Imperial Ace followed by Sudden Ambush, and then after Sudden Ambush is Great Bedouin next to Man of Eden and Chazz over on the far side. And just tucking in now is Like a Tiger after that unfortunate start, keeping company with Regal Empire at the back end of the field. But now High Honour stretches on and takes the lead quite clearly ahead of Imperial Ace. Demillion either doesn't want to or can't go this increased tempo with Great Bedouin next. They're followed through by Sudden Ambush, tucked away behind the leaders. Imperial Ace, likewise Man of Eden getting plenty of cover. Pink Jacket of Chazz over on the far side flank, being tracked now by Like a Tiger, who's trying to improve, and the back marker is Regal Empire. The runners then head down with just a ½ mile left to go in the price promise at Bet 365 handicap. And the leader is High Honour, but now Demillion coming right back to be within a neck or so of the leader. Then Sudden Ambush makes a move. Indeed, they're all starting to close in a little bit now with Imperial Ace. Satellite is Regal Empire down the near side. Great Bedouin with them. On the far side, Chazz, and right over on the far side is Like a Tiger, who's still in this despite that start, as they head then down towards the dip. Inside the two they come, and over on the far side, Chazz and Like a Tiger have both been produced to go on now, and these two go on from Regal Empire down the stand side in third, and Like a Tiger's now come through to hit the front. He's wandering all over the place. He had a look at the skies coming out of the gates, but it's not going to stop him. He's going to run out a tremendously impressive winner in the hands of Daniel Muscat. Like a Tiger is home, and he beats Regal Empire and Chazz convincingly.
Like a Tiger, the favourite, wins the last. Regal Empire second at 10-1, and Chazz was third at 15-2, and 9 ran. Big day for James Ferguson and Danny Muscat. Doubling up here, they won the field and stakes, and Like a Tiger, left-hand side of your screen, runs on strongly in the closing stages here. There could be a fair bit more to come because he's not doing a tap out in front, straightened up and just given a bit of help with the whip. He runs on strongly enough with plenty in the tank.
Well, just when I thought I wouldn't be more impressed than I was with Canberra Legend in the field and early today, Like a Tiger pops up, and they're both trained by James Ferguson. Congratulations. That was an extraordinary win.
It was. I think we've got a bit of stalls work to do. I wasn't expecting that.
Rearing at the start.
Oh, he's normally on. I promise you, you would put your child on him. He's such a nice ride, and he's such a cool horse. But no, unfortunately, that happened today. But they didn't go very quick, which helped us out, and he got into a nice stride. And no, I was very impressed about the way he finished. You know, he'd obviously done very well from 2 to 3. I think the soft ground definitely helps him. He's got a very high knee action. And the further distance certainly helped him out. You know, he stays all day, and you know, I can certainly see him getting a mile 4 in time.
Yeah, I could see that as well. There's still some greenness at the business end as well. Once he hit the front, he was just wandering about.
I think that's just immaturity. You know, it was very open, and he didn't have anything to aim at. And you know, I think if he had something in front of him, he would have gone even further. So really happy with him.
Now this one, like Canberra Legend, although he's got a Guineas entry as well, is in the Dante and the Derby. What is in your mind's eye are you going to do with him?
I won't take them on. I won't. You know, well, whatever's right for the horse. We'll see how he comes out the race. Obviously, he's in the Dante, and I'll wait to see what Mr. Bonho and you know the owners of this what they really want to do. And you know, there is a listed race here on Guineas Week, the mile 2 for 3-year-olds that I had sort of half penciled in if this went well today. So you know, I think seeing as he appreciates the track so well, I think that might be a logical option. But obviously I will talk to the owners who've been massive supporters of mine. They know a lot more about racing than I do, so they'll have a lot to say about it.
They were delighted, weren't they? You could see all of them in the paddock.
Absolutely, but you know, they're wonderful owners, but the main contingent of owners are Australian syndicate that have been very good to me. You know, they owned El Bodegon, who was my first Group 1 winner. So you know, with the plan being for these horses to go down and run in Australia for the amount of prize money that they have. So you know, this looks like a perfect candidate for down there later on in the season.
It's interesting to hear that you were already planning sort of listed pattern route with him even before this race, because quite often you'll see a horse that wins this race go up through that sort of valuable 3-year-old handicap route. So you're leaving that behind because you think this is a pattern class horse. I'm going to campaign him that way.
Well, it's lovely when a plan comes together, and if we hadn't won by so far, I'd probably be saying go for a handicap. But no, he's obviously shown a bit of class, and you know, I think it's good to dream big, and you know, sometimes if you have the opportunities like this, you know, you have to take them with both hands.
Well, you certainly have today. 2 really impressive horses, the stars of the day, I think. Many congratulations, well done.
Well, long may it continue. Thank you so much. Bye now.
So winners at Newmarket on day 2 of the Craven meeting. We just had a couple of favourites obliged. Silver Lady, She Could Be Useful. That's a race worth following. And Like a Tiger. The big race of the day, the Nell Gwyn, went to Mama's Girl at 16-1. She's around about a 6-1 shot now for the 1,000 guineas back at Newmarket. As far as the times were concerned, well, they were quite slow, but that was courtesy of a fairly strong headwind up the home straight. And perhaps that needs to be factored into calculations. Furlong per furlong was a good performance in the second race from Orazio.